Right, so let's start with question number 1. So question number 1 says, using the principle of mathematical induction, prove that from r equals 1 to n, r cube is equal to 1 over 4 n square n plus 1 square. Right, so we need to prove this. So first of all, what we do is we take for n equals 1. So that is left hand side, we can say r equals 1 to 1 r cube, that is 1 cube, which is 1. Correct, no? Then we have the right hand side, which is 1 over 4 n squared 1 plus 1 square. So this is 1, this is 2, 2 squared is 4, divided by 4 is going to be 1. Correct, no? So left hand side is equal to the right hand side. Okay, so then we can say for n equals 1, the statement is true. Correct, no? So what do we do next? We assume the statement is true for n equals p. That means r equals 1 to p, r cube is equal to 1 over 4 p square p plus 1 square. Right, no? So we have this. Right, so we assume this is true for p, no? Right. So in this sum, we can see that this r cube is ur, no? Right, so now after this what we do is we add the up plus 1 term to both sides. So let's do that. So adding up plus 1. So we will get p r cube plus up plus 1 equals p square p plus 1 square up plus 1. Right. So then this will become from r equals 1 to p plus 1. So this will become p square p plus 1 square. So what is up plus 1? That means p plus 1 cube. So then what I am going to do is I am going to take p plus 1 squared out. Then I will get there's a 1 over 4 here. Then you will get p squared over 4 plus p plus 1. Right? Okay. P plus 1. Then what I am going to do is I am going to take this 4 as a common factor. Then this will become p squared 4p plus 4. So this is basically p plus 2 squared. So you can write this as 1 over 4 p plus 1 p plus 1 plus 1. Right? So you can write this down. Then you have to write that big statement now. Let us say for n equals 1, the statement is true. If the statement is true for n equals p, then the statement is true for n equals p plus 1. Therefore, according to principle of mathematical induction, the statement is true for n which is positive integers. Right, so you have to write this at the end. Right, so question number 2. So in question number 2, they are saying, so they have given some modulus diagrams to draw. So I'm going to take one as 3 minus modulus x, and then the other as y2, which is modulus x minus 1. Right, so first of all they are saying sketch the graphs of this and this in the same diagram. So we have to first of all evaluate this. So when x equals 0, this will become 3. When x is less than 0, this part will be minus 3 minus x. Then you will get 3 plus x. Then when x is greater than 0, this part will be plus, so that is 3 minus x. Then here we have to take x equals 1. So when x equals 1, this is 0. When x is less than 1, this part will become minus. When x is greater than 1, this part will be plus. Right, so we just need to draw these. We need to draw these and see. So here if I draw this down, so let's draw this one. So when x equals 0, the value is 3. Okay. Then when x is less than 0, right, it will become 3 plus 6. That means the gradient is positive. No? If you go like this. Then when x is greater than 0, it is 3 minus x. So gradient is minus. So go like this. So this is modulus. This is basically y1. So here if I write more specifically, we can say this is y1 equals 3 plus x. This is y1 equals 3 minus x. Then we have to draw y2. So y2 at x equals 1. At x equals 1, the value is 0. Then when x value is greater than 1, it has a positive gradient. We go like this. And then when x is equal to less than 1, it has a minus thing, so it will go like this. Right now, so here more specifically I could say this is basically y2, but more specifically this is y2 equals x plus 1. This is y2 equals minus x plus 1. And so this is the graph we need to draw. So then they are saying, hence or otherwise find all the real values of x satisfying the inequality. So they have given an inequality. So they are saying from hence, so we can actually find it from this. So let's see how we can do that. Right. So what are they saying next? So they are saying us to find the real values satisfying the given inequality. So what is inequality given? So they have said x there x modulus x minus 1 less than 3, right? So now I need to rearrange this. I can rearrange this like this, no? Right? So what is this now? This is y2, no? According to our symbol, this is y2. This is what? This is y1. So what are they asking? They are asking what are the values where y1 will be greater than y2, right? So what will be the values where y1 will be greater than y2? That is, so this is y1, no? So y1 will be greater than y. So y means height, no? So the height value should become greater than y2's height value. So here it will become from here. So between this, so we need to find this x1 and x2. So then between those two values is the answer. So let's find x1 and x2. So so the importance of this graph is that we need to know this specific ones here in order to get x1 and x2, right? So let's see now. So now let's see at x equals 1, x1. So x1 y1 is equal to y2. So what is y1? y1 is 3 plus x. y2 is minus x plus 1. So I'm going to take x here. So 2x minus 2. So we have put x1 now. So x1 will be minus 1. Right? So I can say this is minus 1. Okay? Then we get x2. So in x2, in x2 as well, y1 is equal to y2. So the y1 value is what? 3 minus x2. The y2 value is x2 plus 1. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put here so I'll get I done something wrong. Y2 value should be x minus 1. The y2 value should be x minus 1. So here we will get x2 minus 1 here. So then you will get 4 equals 2x2. Then x2 will become 2. So then the answer will be, so then y when x is between minus 1 and 2. Right, so there was a small typo here. Typo here. This is x minus 1. Right? Right, so question number 3. So question number 3 is a complex number 1. So first of all it says sketch in the Argand diagram the locus of the point that represent complex number z satisfying argument z minus 3I equals minus 5 over 3. Right, so the complex number is z, so argument z minus 3I is equal to minus 5 over 3. That means argument z minus 0 plus 3I is equal to minus 5 over 3. No? Right, so you know that the we can take 0, 3 here. So now this is I, this is x. So here this is going to be 3I. So this point will be 0, 3, like here. Then this is going to be minus 5 over 3. So from here, so minus is going to be down, no? So minus 5 over 3. So that will be, yeah, this will be minus 5 over 3. Right, so this is what we need to draw. So this is what they are asking first of all. Then they are asking, hence or otherwise find the minimum value of z minus 1 modulus such that argument z bar plus 3I equals 5 over 3. Right, so now z minus 1, so now z minus 1 equal to something that, so that can be a range of values, no? That can be some circle, no? But they are asking the minimum one. So we have to see this the other part. Argument z bar plus 3I equals plus 5 over 3. Right? Okay, so what is that? So now this says argument z bar plus 3I equals 5 over 3. Right? So now here this can be written as, so if I take, so now I can take both what do you call, I can take the bar of both. So if I take that, then this becomes minus. Then I can take inside, so this bar will become the normal one, this plus will become minus. So this is the same as this, right? Then there is z minus 1, so this starts from and the next part they are saying is z minus 1 the minimum value, no? So this is z minus 1, no? So that is here, it starts from here, no? So what they are basically asking is the minimum value between these two. So now z bar is, so that is when this is perpendicular, no? If this is not perpendicular at any other point that this meets, it will be greater than that value. So the minimum value is this. So I am going to name this as A, B, C. Right? So now they are asking the minimum value. So now we need to use some geometry and see. So now we know that we can get so now what do you call this is 5 over 3. So that means this part will be what? This part, so now this is going to be 60, so this part will be 30. This part will be 60. Right, so you can get this OC value. You can get this OC value from the geometry, no? Because this part is going to be 3. So you can get this value easily, right? So OC will be 3 tan 30. That is 3 1 over 3. So you will get that as square root 3. Okay. So you know OC, and you know that this value is 1, no? So you can get the value of AC as well very easily. So AC will be 3 minus so square root 3 minus OA, no, that is 1. Correct? Right? Then so now you know this. So now you know this thing. No? This is basically now square root 3 minus 1. So now what you need is AB. Right? So you can get AB very easily. What is AB? AB is going to be AC sine 60. No? So AC is square root 3 minus 1. Sine 60 is square root 3 over 2. So that is the answer they are asking. Right? So yeah. So question number 4. So question number 4 is a binomial expansion question. So in this question they are saying the coefficients of x and x4 x and x to the power 4 of the binomial expansion of x squared plus 3k x to the power 8 are equal, right? So the term 1 and term 4, if I name the coefficient of each term as term t, those will be equal. Then they are saying from that find the value of the constant k. Right? So what we need to do is to find k. So now first of all let's write this expansion down. So what is the expansion? When r equals from 0 to 8, 8 cr x to r 3k over x 8 minus r. So now this is the normal form, no? Right? So here what do you call this this specific. So now here now x is in two different places, no? So now we need to cluster those x's, right? So then if we cluster that out, we will get what? 0 to 8, 8 cr x 2r 3k 8 minus r x 8 minus r. Correct, no? So then we will get r equals 0, 8 cr 3k 8 minus r x 2r minus 8 minus r. 8 cr 3k 8 minus r x. So this is 2r minus 8 minus r is going to be plus r. So this is going to be 3r minus 8. Correct, no? So this is the term. Right, so this is also done. So what are they saying next? So they are saying next is that term 1 and term 4 are equal. Right. So that means they are saying the coefficients of x and x to the power 4 are equal. Right. So this is the x term. This is the coefficient term. Correct, no? So now we need to check where what you call when x equals, so when it's x to the power 1, what is the corresponding r value? Because this is not in the normal term. So that is the next step we have to do. So now so when x to the power 1, right? So the coefficient will be, so this 3r minus 8 will be 1, no? Right? So then r will be 1. is going to be 9. 9 over 3 is going to be 3. When x to the power 4, 3r minus 8 is going to be 4. Then this is going to be 3r 12. So r is going to be 4. So now we need to just evaluate for r equals 1, r equals 3 and r equals 4. Right? So then we know that the coefficient of x is equal to the coefficient of x to the power 4. That means when r equals 1, sorry, r equals 3 and when r equals 4. Correct, no? So then this is the coefficient term. So what we need to do is we need to substitute r equals 3 here and r equals 4 here and equate, and then we will get the answer of k. Right? Right. So now we will get this. We will get 8c3 3 8 so 3k 8 minus 3 is equal to 8c4 3k 8 minus 4. Right, no? So we'll get here 8 minus 3, we will get 3, this is going to be 5, k 5, 8 minus 4, 3 to the power 4, k to the power 4. Right, so you can cut stuff easier, no? Cut this off, then you can cut this off, cut this. Right, now? So then you will get, so I'm going to write it here. So you will get, I'll write it here, 3k. This, so this is going to be 5 factorial. I'm going to write that as 5 into 4 factorial. This is going to be 3 factorial. I'm going to write this as 1 over 4 factorial into 4 into 3 factorial. Right now? So then I can cut these off. Right, so then I will get the answer as what? So then I can get the answer k as, so I'm going to cross multiply. This is going to be 5, this is going to be 4 into 3, that is 12. Alright, so question number 5. So in question number 5, they are asking us to show a value for the limit. So let's see what we can do. So they are asking us to show when limit x goes to 0, 1 minus cos 5 x over 4 x squared x plus 1 is equal to 5 square 32. So this is what we need to show. Correct? So let's see what we can do here. So now first of all there's x squared here, right? So first of all what should come to your mind is that we need to convert this into a x squared thing, preferably into a sign. So we can use the equation of the half angles of cos. That is 1 minus 2 sine squared the the half angle of this. That means 5x 4 into 2 x squared x plus 1. Right, so here 1 minus 1 is going to be 0. You will get limit x goes to 0 2 sine square 5x over 8. Correct, no? X square. So I can write this limit when x goes to 0, x plus 1. So we can actually get the answer here straight away, because x plus 1 it does not matter, because when x equals 0 this becomes 1. Right. Here we need to do some manipulation. What is that? So now here I need to make this thing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 5 squared here. So because I put a 5 squared here, I need to put a 5 squared up here. Then I'm going to put a 8 squared here. Then I have to put 8 squared here. Right? So if I put the limit here, it will become 1, 0 plus 1. That means that's going to be 1. Right? So here I will get, so I'm going to take this 2 out as well. 2 5 square. This is 8 square, so that means 8 times 8. Right? That is done. So this will times limit. So now I'm going to change the limit as well. Right? I need to change the limit now. So what is that? So I have this thing as when x goes to 0. So now I need the limit for 5x over 8. That means I am going to multiply this by 5 over 8. So that is what? That is 0. That means this 5x over 8 also goes to 0. So I am going to change this limit as 5x over 8 goes to 0. Then I can take sine 5x over 8 over 5x over 8 squared plus this is going to be 1 0 plus 1. Right? So now if you all see this part, what? This part will be what? This part will be 1. No? This part will be 1. So the whole part will be 1. And this part will also be 1. So the answer will be 2 will be 4. So 8 times 4 is what? It's going to be 32. So you all will get the answer as 5 square 32. So it's going to be 1, this is also going to be 1. This is the answer. Right. So question number 6. So in question number 6 it says, show that the area region enclosed by the curves y equals Ex. So I'm going to name this as y1. y1 equals Ex, y2 equals E3 minus x, and x equals 0, x equals 3, equals 0, x equals 3, y equals 0 is the given answer. So what we need to do first of all is let's draw a rough sketch. So y1 equals Ex will go like this. This is E2x. y1 equals E2x. Alright, so Ex, so it will go up. Then this is minus x, so it will definitely go down. So something like this. y2 equals E3 minus x. Right, so first of all, there's one thing. So before I draw this, you don't know whether this thing, as in like, you don't know whether this part can intersect here. No? So it's always better to see where the intersection point is. Right. So before I draw this, what you can do is that you can see when y1 equals y2, what is the corresponding x value. So here E2x equals E3 minus x. So basically this 2x will be equal to 3x. Sorry, 3 minus x. So then you can see 3x is equal to 3. That means x equals 1. So at x equals 1 only these intersect. So my graph is not wrong, right? Okay. Now they are asking the area where between x equals 0. That means this, and x equals 3. They are asking this area. And y equals 0, right? So by default this becomes x equals 0, this becomes y equals 0, this line, right? So they are asking this area. So now what do you call, if we get the area as y1 minus y2 and the limit, what will we get? So we'll get, if we'll be getting this area. So now if I take this part, now let's see if this part, if I take this area, I will get this whole area minus this whole area. So I will get the answer as this, but that is not what we are asking. We are asking the area of this and this. That is the difference. That is why we can't use y1 minus y2 with the limit and get the answer. Right? So that is true in this sense as well, because if I take y1 minus y2 and they get the limits for this part, I will get this part. So that is not the answer I want. So therefore this is very important, that we found the intersection point, and now we can get the answer easily. So the area will be, so anyway area is denoted, area can be found by integration. That is one of the fundamental applications of integration. So now area can be written as from 0 to 1 y1 ex plus 1 to 3 y2 dx. So if I find this out, I'll get the answer. Okay, so the area will be then area will be 0 to 1. What is y1? E2x dx plus y1 to 2 E3 minus x. Right, so I will get, so if I integrate this, I will get I will get E2x over 2 1 0 plus I will get E3 minus x, but minus 1 2 1. So here I will get E2 over 2 minus E0 over 2 plus E3 minus 2 minus 1 minus E3 minus 1. No, so this is 3. This is 3, so this is 3 minus 3 minus 1. Correct, no? So then I will get here E2 over 2 minus E0 is 1. Any 0 is 1. Then this is going to be E0. That means it's going to be 1. 1 divided by minus 1 is going to be minus 1. Right? This is plus minus 1. Then here this is going to be E2, but minus E2 minus is going to be plus E2. So then we will get, so E2, we can transfer the E2 out. That means E2 3 over 2 minus 1 is going to be minus 3 over 2. Get the answer as 3 over 2 E2 minus 1. That is the answer they are asking. Right. So question number 7. Question number 7 says a curve C is given by the parametric equation x equals 1 tan t over 2 and y equals sin t, where t is between 5 over 2 and 5. Okay. Then show that dy over dx is cos t sin t. So in this question they are saying that x equals ln tan t over 2 and then y equals sin t. Right now? Okay. So now here they are asking dy over dx. So first of all we need to find dx over dt. We need to find dy over dt. Right? So if I take dx over dt, I'll get 1 over tan t over 2. Then I will differentiate this, that is x square t over 2. Then differentiate this part, that means r. So this is going to be sin t over 2 cos t over 2. This will be cos square t over 2 r. So I can cut one of the cos out. Then I will get 2 sin t over 2 cos t over 2. So this is what? This is basically sin t. Here if I differentiate this is basically cos t. Simple as that. Then what are they asking? They are asking dy over dx. Dy over dx will be dy over dt dt over dx. So dy over dt is cos t. Dt over dx, the 1 over thing also we get to sin t. That is the answer they asked. Correct? No? Right. Alright. Then they are asking, deduce that the gradient of the tangent line drawn to the curve C at the point corresponding to t equals 2 pi over 3 is minus 3 squared over 4. Now this is easy now. What we need to do is basically substitute the t value for the gradient, right? So dy over dx is cos t sin t. So now what we need is, so what now we need is deduce the gradient of the tangent line drawn to the curve C at the corresponding point T. So now we need to substitute T equals 2 phi over 3. Right? So that's what we need to do. So I'll get the gradient as cos 2 phi over 3 sin 2 phi over 3. I can write this as cos phi minus phi over 3, no? Right now? 2 phi over 3 I am written as this. So sin also phi minus phi over 3. So what I basically did was I'm going to convert this into acute angle so that I know the answers. Here all STC comes to action. If I take phi minus 3, this part will be minus, right? This part will be positive, and because it's phi minus, so phi minus something, the cos value will not change. Correct? No? So here I will get minus cos phi over 3, then sin phi over 3. So this is minus cos 5 over 3 is what? Basically cos 60, no? That is half. This is square root 3 over 2. So then I will get minus square root 3 over 4. Is that the answer we want? Yes, that's the answer we want. Right. So question number 8. Question number 8 says. So question number 8 says, let L1 be a straight line x plus y minus 5 equals 0. So there's L1 line. L1 is x plus y minus 5 equals 0. Then find the equation of the straight line L2 passing through the point P34 and perpendicular to L1. Right now? So there's a L2 one. There's a L2 line, right, which is perpendicular to L1. And then that goes through the point 3, 4. Correct now? So what do we need to do? We know that. So in order to get the equation of a line, we need to get the gradient of it. And then if you know 2 points, then we can get the equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm trying to get the gradient of L2. So what is the gradient of L1? This is ML1 is equal to minus 1. Right? So now I need to get the ML2. Just give. Yeah. So, okay. So now we need to get the gradient of L2. Right, the L2 line, that is, so because these are perpendicular, we can say ML1 into ML2 equals minus 1. So ML1 is minus 1, this is ML2 equals minus 1, so ML2 will be 1. Correct now? So what is ML2? So ML2, 1 can be written as what? Y minus 4 x minus 3. Correct now? So now we can get the answer. So now this is going to be x minus 3 equals y minus 4. Then you will get the answer as x minus y plus 1. This is L2. Right. So now we know L1 and now we know L2 as well. Right now. So now what are they saying next? They are saying let Q be the point intersecting L1 and L2. Okay. There is this is L1, this is L2. L1 is x plus y minus 5 equals 0. This is x minus y plus 1 equals 0. So the intersecting point is Q. This is 90. This is Q. Okay. Let Q be the point intersecting L1 and L2, and let R be the point on L2 such that PQ. There was a P somewhere, no? So P was in line L2, so I'll put this as P, and P is 3, 4 here. So that is given in the first part of the sum. So then they are saying let R be the point on L2 such that PQ QR is 2. Okay. Just put this as R. This x0 y0. Right? Then they are saying find the coordinates of R. So we need x0 y0. Right? So for that, so now we know that the ratio is 1 to 2. So if I know the point of this, if I know the coordinates of this, then I can get the point of R. and I can find the coordinates of Q easily because I know these two equations, right? So now at point Q, right? At point Q, let's say it's x1, y1. Both L1 and L2 satisfies me. Correct? So then I can actually write this as L1, I can write that as x1 plus y1 minus 5 equals 0. This is 1. Then at L2 I can write again x1 minus y1 plus 1 equals 0. So then I can, so yeah, this is there. So then I can get this answer easily. 1 plus 2. If I take 1 plus 2, then I will get 2x1 minus 4 equals 0. No? Then I can get x1 as 2. Right? So if I know x1 is 2, we can get the y1 as, so even from the first one you can get y1 will be, this is 2 plus y1 minus 5 is going to be equal to 0, so y1 should be 3. Right? So now you have found, this as 2, 3. So if you know this, this coordinate and if you know this coordinate, then from the ratio you can find the r coordinate. Right, so now you have found all these stuff. Right, so now I'm going to consider this as an internal divider thing. So x1, or basically the Q point, the corresponding x value for Q2 will be equal to what? It will be equal to 1 into x0 plus 2 into 3 divided by 1 plus 2. And then y1, or the value 3, will be equal to 1 into y0 plus 2 into 4 divided by 1 plus 2. Correct, no? So this will be 2 x0 plus 6, 3. This will be 3 y0 plus 8. 3. So we will get 6 equals x0 plus 6. So x0 will be 0. This will get 9. 9 equals y0 plus 8. So y0 is going to be 1. So basically what we need is the r value. So r will be 0, 1. That's the answer that they asked. Right, so question number 9. So question number 9 says, it says let P equals 1 to Q equals 7, 10. Write down the value of the constants A, B such that the equation of the circle with points P, Q at as the end of diameter. So there is a P here, Q here. P is 1, 2, Q is 7, 10. Right? So and this is the circle. They are asking, so the circle equation is given as x minus 1, x minus a plus y minus 2, y minus b. Right? So if this is the diameter, you can get the equation, right? you all can either memorize the equation or you all can just simply get the equation like this. Because the diameter this will be 90, so this is a common point which is xy, and this is line L1, this is line L2. Line L1 is perpendicular to line L2, so ML1, ML2 will be equal to -1, so ML1 will be equal to y minus 2 x minus 1 into y minus 10 x minus 7 equals -1. So you will get y minus 2 y minus 10 equals to minus x minus 7. So if I put the minus here, I will get y minus 2 y minus 10 plus x minus 1 x minus 7 equals 0. Right, so this is the equation of the circle. So you just need to compare this. So this is A, no? A is corresponding to 7, B is corresponding to 10. So A will be 7, B will be 10. Right, so we get the equation as this. Then they are saying let S dash be S plus lambda 4x minus 3y plus 2. Okay, so now I do not need this. So I know that S is y minus 2, y minus 10, x minus 1, x minus 7 equals 0. Right? So now they are saying let S dash. So this is another circle which is S plus lambda 4x minus 3y plus 2 equals 0. So this is the new equation, correct? So S dash can be written as y minus 2 y minus 10 plus x minus 1 x minus 7 plus lambda 4x minus 3y plus 2. Correct, no? Right. Now they are saying show that point P and Q lie on S dash equals 0. Right? So what do we need to do? We simply need to substitute the values of P. What is P? 1, 2 into S dash and so that will become 0. Correct? No? So now let's do that. Now S dash when P 1, 2. So I will get 2 minus 2 is the 2 minus 10 plus 1 minus 1 minus 7 lambda 4 into 1 3 into 2 plus 2. So now here this is 0, so the whole thing is 0. This is 0, so the whole thing is 0. This is going to be 4 plus 2 is going to be 6 minus 6 is going to be 0. It is going to be 0. So you will get 0. Therefore, P12 lies on S dash. So similarly, when Q equals, what is Q? 7, 10. We can take S dash Q 7, 10. That means so 10 is y, no? 10 minus 2, 10 minus 10 plus 7 minus 1, 7 minus 7 plus lambda 4 times 7 minus 3 times 10 plus 2. Correct now? So now this part will become 0, this part will become 0. So this part will be 0. This is going to be 4 times 7 is going to be 28. 28 plus 2 is 30. 30 minus 30 is going to be 0. So this will also be equal to 0. Right? Because of that, we can say therefore Q710 lie on this one. So that is also done. Right. So I come up to here. Then what are they asking next? Then they are telling find the value of lambda such that the circle passes through the point R14. So R is 14, right? So it passes through S dash. Since S dash passes through R14, S dash R14 is 0. Correct? No? So then I just need to substitute and see. So I will get 4 minus 2, 4 minus 10, 1 minus 1, 1 minus 7 plus lambda 4, 4 times 1 minus 3 times 4 plus 2 equals 0. So here you will get a 0 here. Then you will get 2 times minus 6. 2 times minus 6. 2 times minus 6 into lambda 4 minus 12 plus 2. Right, so you will get minus 12 here. So you will get a minus 12 here plus lambda is going to be 4 plus 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 minus 12 is going to be minus 6. So there is a minus 6 again. So lambda will be 2. No, lambda will be minus 2. No? Minus 2. Right. So question number 10, last question. So question number 10 says sec cube x plus 2 sec squared x tan x plus sec x tan squared x is equal, so we need to prove that is equal to cos x 1 minus sin x square. Right, so apart from that it says x is not equal to 2n plus 1 pi over 2, where n is an integer. So integer means it can be minus or it can be plus. So what so the learning of here is that we can say that so x is not an odd multiple of 5 over 2. Right? That means So this will be needed for the rest of the sum. That means sine minus 5 over 2, which is equal to minus 1, right, does not exist. So we can say sin x will not become minus 1, right? That means 1 plus sin x is not 0 in this particular sum. So we will need this later in the sum. So yeah. Okay. So we come up to here. Okay, now if you all look at the answer, this is in terms of cos and sin. So it's better. If we can convert this into sin and cos and get the answer. So now I'm going to take the left hand side. I will get sec cube of x means 1 over cos cube x. This is 2 times cos squared x. Tan x is sin x over cos x. This sec x will be cos 1 over cos x. Tan squared x is going to be sin squared x cos squared x. Right, so cos cube will be common here now. 1 plus 2 sin x sin squared x. Correct? So this is what? This is like, so this is going to be sin x plus 1 square, or there's 2x 1. Right? So that is basically this is like 1 square. So I will get 1 plus sin x square cos. So I'm going to write cos x into cos squared x, right? Square cos squared x. So I can get 1 plus this one sin x squared cos x. Then cos squared x will be I can write that as 1 minus sin squared x. Correct? No? Then I can write this as 1 plus sin x squared cos x 1 minus sin x 1 plus sin x. Right? So now I can cut this sin 1 minus sin. I can cut this 1 minus sin x because 1 minus sin x is not equal to 0. Correct? No? So yeah, so we come up to here. So write this down. Right, so now left hand side, so I got this as 1 plus sin x cos x 1 minus sin x. Right? So what I'm going to do is I saw this 1 minus sin x squared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 1 minus sin x. So I will multiply that same thing here. Okay. So then I will get 1 minus sin squared x. Then I will get cos x 1 minus sin x squared. Right? So now here what is this 1 minus cos squared x is? Cos squared x, no? Right? I will get cos squared x over cos x 1 minus sin x squared. So what I can do is I can cut one of these cos x off, then I will get the answer. So that ends the session.